Alright guys, we're in chapter 10 section 1, and this one they're just talking about hypothesis testing. So here's a question from the homework. This is number 6, and it says determine the null and alternative hypothesis. So 3 years ago the mean price of a single family home was $243,712, and a real estate broker believes that the mean price has decreased since then due to the housing market or whatever, but that's what they think has happened, that it's decreased. So our null hypothesis is we're going with what it was 3 years ago, that the mean is 243,712. The alternative hypothesis is what we're trying to say. Well, I think that it's gotten lower because of the housing market. So I think that it's decreased from the mean. So here's what the alternative hypothesis states, is that the mean is less than 243,712. That's what we're always trying to show when we do hypothesis testing. This is what's believed or assumed to be true. Here's what our take on it is. We think that something's changed, or we don't think it's equal to what they say it is, and so we're going to do some testing to determine that. So this one, they think it's decreased, totally C. And then next, they're asking what type of error could we make. We always can make an error on these things. Maybe we collect a sample that happens to be less than 243,712 or different enough, when in actuality we just maybe got not a great sample of the population, and so maybe we made a mistake. So they said, which of the following is a type 1 error? So these are some definitions that are in the book on page 432. And a type 1 error is when we reject the null hypothesis when the null hypothesis is true. So if we go back to the problem, what it's saying is, I rejected this. I said that I don't think it's 243,000. I think it's less than. But in actuality, it was 243,000. And so when we reject the null when we shouldn't have. So the broker rejects the null hypothesis when it is the true mean cost. And so looking at these, I'd be looking at A. So again, with the null hypothesis, you're either going to reject or fail to reject. That's going to be your conclusion. I reject the null hypothesis or fail to reject. And then if it's a type 2 error, that's what the next question is asking. Back to the definitions. A type 2 error is when we failed to reject the null hypothesis when we should have. So let's say that we collected a sample of houses and the mean price is was close enough to 243,712 to where we said, I'm going to fail to reject this because it's pretty close to 243,000, when in actuality we should have rejected. So a type 2 error is when we fail to reject but then we should have. So we failed to reject when the true price is less than the 243,000. So in this section 1, you're just getting used to the idea of stating your hypothesis, what you can do with your hypothesis, reject or fail to reject, and then some of these errors that could happen. Because again, we're just doing a sample when we're testing this.